All right, everyone, welcome into the NBA DFS Core Plays video here for this Tuesday slate. Now, we have a loaded slate today, a fun, exciting slate today in NBA DFS. So let's go ahead and get into it. If you guys enjoy the coverage, make sure to give a like and subscribe. And everyone watching this video that hasn't subscribed to the channel, please do. We're trying to get to 6,000 subscribers. Let's get there today. Let's do it. But looking at this slate, it is one in which we have a ton of chalk as it sits right now. Tyus Jones, over 50%. Cole Anthony, 31%. Marvin Bagley, 29%. Desmond Bain, 28. I mean, it just is crazy. And the reason why is because FanDuel has their pricing so much higher than DraftKings. So people are just naturally seeing the price discounts on DraftKings. Okay, so it does seem like FanDuel has been much more sharp with their pricing. Now, if we flip it around, though, we are going to see some interesting prices and really chalk on FanDuel as well. So we flip it around, we can see Tillman basically evenly priced, coming in at 58%. Cam Johnson as well, basically even priced, 40%. So there is chalk on both sides today. And just looking at the value that we have on both sides, Killian Hayes is actually looking like he could be a strong kind of price point play, maybe an upside leverage play on both sides. Looking at Jaden Ivey as well. So we are getting some Detroit value, and that's because Detroit is projected to still be banged up today. Now, that could change throughout the day. If it does, just make sure to be in the Discord chat before lineup lock. Link to that is in the description below. Cameron Johnson, once again, chalk there. Kevon Looney, very good matchup tonight against OKC. If he's going to be 3% owned on DraftKings and 10% owned on FanDuel, that could be a nice leverage spot. I would say Luka's, that's not too crazy, but a good value. Mikal Bridges as well. So there are some good options we can go with. And then just looking at the DraftKings value, Tyus Jones, Killian Hayes, Dwight Powell, that could be a very interesting name. I mean, only 3.4. So like right now, as it sits, we could just put him in there for a value play. Obviously, this is late season NBA DFS. There's going to be good value that pops up. So maybe you put Dwight Powell into the utility spot to start off your builds today on DraftKings. I wouldn't do that on FanDuel. And then if there's better value that opens up throughout the day, then you could thus pivot to that stronger, I guess, more predictive value play. Because obviously Dwight Powell, we wouldn't exactly say he's someone that we're going out of our way to play any slate, but does get a decent matchup against Utah. Same thing with Reggie Bullock. You know, if these two are going to be getting as many minutes as they're projected to get, 21 and 33 could be strong values. And as it sits right now, it makes sense why they are popping up as some of the best sub 4K plays on DraftKings. And then from there, the biggest chalk disappointment last night, Marvin Bagley. And guys, he had a terrible night, but also it was like okay at the same time, strangely enough. 2 rebounds away from a double-double, ended up able to get 10 points. He had a terrible first half. If anyone's following, he had like 5, I think, DK points in the first half. Got into foul trouble, had 3 turnovers, just had a terrible half of basketball. Now he gets a good matchup against Washington. Like, if those minutes are still going to be there, I think we kind of just need to load up on him. And so this is kind of one of those situations in which it could be a blessing at a bad night last night. And this is hoping that, I mean, his ownership yesterday was like 55% when I did my video. Now today, same price point, same situation, 29%. Still projected to get a lot of minutes, but we do need to get confirmation on the Detroit bigs to be sitting. If Dern and Stewart are active, or if one of them are active, then I think Bagley is kind of just a no-go. But if they are out again, I think we can still roll with them. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if James Wiseman were to sit tonight. He was questionable yesterday, ended up playing about 24 minutes. He could be someone that sits as well, just because he's banged up. And then right before we get into the core plays, let's just look at the top plays on the OF index. Obviously, Luka and Anthony Davis. I'm surprised Anthony Davis isn't more chalk than this on DraftKings. Like, I honestly thought he'd be the highest owned player on the slate. I know we have a bunch of studs on the slate, but if we look at it, guys, it's kind of the standout play. Okay, clear-cut play. Yes, we have SGA and we have Curry as well. I'm fine with those in the game stack. And if they are going to be this low on, I do think we can kind of do that. I just found that very interesting. Mikal Bridges, also a pretty strong play. I mean, look at the other players around him standing out. Killian Hayes, I think for now we're just going to have to play him. That could adjust throughout the day, but for now it seems like he's someone we have to play. And then Tyus Jones. So let's go ahead and get into kind of the lineup process for today. So the interesting thing about today's slate is it feels like it's kind of just working itself out naturally. Now, Killian Hayes, if he's going to be getting around 35 minutes, like, Detroit's pretty banged up. And so as it sits right now against Washington, he's one of the kind of standout plays that we are getting on the slate. Now, this could update throughout the day. If you guys are Occupy Fantasy members, you can see this update throughout the day on this board. Okay, so this is something maybe at 3, we come in and see, oh, he's not standing out as much anymore. Then we can pivot. Okay, link to join is going to be in the description below. Also, you can ask that in the Discord chat, which is also in the link in the description below. But as it sits right now, he is kind of one of the standout plays. And then from there, like, we know Tyus Jones is kind of some chalk that we need to eat tonight, especially going against LA, which is going to be a favorable matchup, regardless of if it's D'Angelo Russell or Dennis Schroeder. starting again the full allotment of minutes. Tyus Jones, we know he's been a strong point per minute player. I would argue this is still too cheap. If he's going to get around 30 minutes or so, and let's see the minutes we have him projected to get, 32. So yeah, if he gets those minutes, it's going to be tough not to love him as a play. We look at the games in which he's gone in 30 minutes, really going off for 30 DK points. So I honestly don't get why he didn't get a bigger price bump, because we see it time and time again. Like every time he gets the minutes, he's been able to produce. And so the only flaw with Anthony Davis on tonight's slate is the simple fact that he is only center eligible. I still think we can find a way to make that work. He is just a standout play. With LeBron off the court, he averages what he's been putting up late. Okay, now he gets a great matchup against Memphis, a team he just went for 60 DK points against. It's just going to be tough not to load up on him. And then with that being said, I do think Mitchell Robinson is at a strange price point as well. So it does seem like a slate in which we are going to try to load up on at least two centers. And I say at least because if we can find one that we can play at the power forward position, like PJ Washington or Bagley, I'd be fine with that as well. And I'll touch on that in just a second. But we can see the minutes have been there for Robinson. Sure, he struggled against Miami. That's not exactly a matchup that you would really be targeting Mitchell Robinson against. Now he gets a good matchup against Charlotte. He should be able to go out and at least hit value, like 25 DK points. Should be able to do that, but I am expecting 30 DK points out of him. Then I did mention we could probably kind of sneak in another power forward type play. I'd be fine with PJ Washington, Cameron Johnson as well. He's more of a small forward type, but he has been someone that is probably still a little bit too cheap, especially given this matchup with Houston, a matchup that is going to be a good matchup for the Brooklyn Nets players. I think we want to have at least one Brooklyn Nets player because it doesn't seem like their price point has come up enough. So like PJ Washington has definitely stepped up into a bigger role. He was able to put up 22 fantasy points last game, and he was terrible. Okay, 3 personal fouls, 3 turnovers, 36 minutes, 8 rebounds, 3, like just not a good game. And this is where I kind of want to call out like Bagley, who also had a terrible night, put up a little bit more fantasy points at a cheaper price tag. So I think I might default to him a little bit more, but we could easily play both of these. Like both him and Bagley have 40-point upside. The thing with PJ Washington is that this game could be a blowout. Okay, they're 10-point dogs right now. We don't like that. But I want to point out the fact that last game was his first game back from injury, and it was against Brooklyn. Brooklyn is a pretty solid defense now. So I do expect him to have a bounce back game. Okay, it's first game back from injury, had a poor night shooting, had a terrible night, and then also had a tough matchup. Now he gets a great matchup going against the Knicks. I could see a path in which he does well. But for now, I think I'm going to go with Bagley as long as we get news that Stewart and Duran are sitting. This does seem like a cheap price tag. Like we are playing him for this upside. We're not playing him for the downside. Like we know that's there. Okay, we want the upside. We have a player that can easily get 40 DK points. Okay, we are loading up on GPP plays. And that's kind of the thing about late season NBA DFS. It's like, it's definitely more of a GPP part of the season. And then like, we kind of know that we want to play Tyus Jones, but then do we want to play Desmond Bane? He feels a little bit too cheap as well. He is someone that really does dominate with Ja Morant off the court. So I really don't get this price tag for him. So like, this is a player that I think I'll be loading up on, especially given the matchup as well. It should be a good matchup. Like last game against the Lakers, 30 minutes, and he should be able to get a little bit more, 36 DK points. So obviously with Ja off, he should be able to get a little bit more usage. So we could easily fit him in there. And then like Dylan Brooks does seem like a cheap price point play. Dylan Brooks has been terrible. I don't think many people are going to be excited to play him, but he does see an increase in production with Ja Morant off the court. Now, for what it's worth, Luke Kennard is someone that can shoot to get hot like he had last game. Probably not someone we're chasing, but I guess it wouldn't be shocking to see him have a good game. So from there are some other players I want to call out, especially just in the guard position. It does feel like Bradley Beal is a little bit too cheap. He has been someone that has been productive lately. 40 DK points or more in 3 out of his last 4 games. That's appealing to me. Josh Giddey, we know actually does improve a little bit with SGA on the court. There's the potential that Jalen Williams could be out. I'm not sure if that helps him or hurts him, but he has been someone that has been productive, and I think we could have a sneaky game stack with that Golden State Oklahoma City game. And if there's going to be good value that opens up throughout the day, we could easily attack that. We could go Curry, SGA, Josh Giddey. We are both getting unique and also chasing a game that should be a favorable game to stack. I do just want to call this out as well, because like guys, RJ Barrett is a random upside GPP play. It seems like there's going to be 3 games throughout the month, and it's typically in a poor matchup that he goes off against. I don't mind the idea of maybe chasing upside there with him. Definitely not a play you're going out of your way to play, more of a shoulder shrug play. So kind of once again, if Detroit's going to be banged up like they were in the previous game, Isaiah Livers is going to be someone that we probably have to look at a little bit. Now, this does feel like his upside. Like if we're playing him because of the price tag. We're playing him to get 18 DK points. And as it sits right now, I'm fine with rostering him at that price tag. Now, I do want to call it as well. Jalen Williams is currently questionable. If he were to sit for OKC, I think Aaron Wiggins would be someone we're looking at. We have seen him be productive when he gets, more minutes. So he'd be the better play. So if Jalen Williams is out, I think we do pivot to Aaron Wiggins. And then I actually want to go with PJ Washington instead. So I just went with Dylan Brooks for now. So that is the first look build as well as the core plays. Obviously, this is going to change and develop throughout the day. If you guys want that most up-to-date information, make sure to click the links in the description below, whether that be for the Occupy Fantasy membership or for the Discord chat, okay? And also, make sure to give that subscribe. We're trying to get to 6,000 subscribers. We're right there. Just need that final push. All right, thanks for watching. Let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing.